TomandDanWateringHoles.com. That's all our bar and brewery partners.
Yeah, man.
We got a brand new one in Davenport. If you live anywhere near Davenport, tap that beer house.
Oh, I know what that means.
It's a really cool concept. They have a lot of beers on tap.
Where are these around Orlando? I want this right by the studio. And basically, this is a bunch of taps, and you scan your little card, and you walk around, and you just taste what you want, and everybody leaves you alone. It's called Leave Me Alone Beer House. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard of, and apparently, this was the first one to ever have in that area. This is like a newer thing.
I've seen it with wine, but I haven't seen it with beer. This is like a beer fest.
They've got
anytime
TVs,
you want.
board games, and apparently you just walk around and taste whatever you like. So it sounds awesome. You can click through at TomandDanWateringHoles.com. You can click through right to their webpage. But again, that's Tap That Beer House in Davenport.
Also, 1010. We've known Mike
these guys.
since we started the podcast. And if you're looking for some delicious beer, they're constantly doing events. Like Daniel said, Mike's out there personally.
They're open every day of the week, guys.
Smoking some meats.
Every day of the week, they are open. You can bring your dogs outside. Dogs not permitted in the tap room, but they are the epitome of that homegrown brewery right in the heart of downtown Florida.
Yep, it's right there near Ivanhoe. And so just go to 1010 Brewing.
This is a new one, and this is really cool. Now, you know the Current, and we've talked about the Current Seafood Counter.
Yeah, we were there this week.
We were there this week seeing Matthew, our web guy. But Mike from the Current now has an Irish bar. So now we have the Sullivan Public House. You can go there if you like shepherd's pie, if you want to get that Irish fare, you want the Irish beers on tap. Well, now we got a place.
Yeah, and that's in Sanford.
Yep.
So check out the Sullivan. Of course, we got other partnerships and watering holes in Sanford, including West End Trading Company, Celery City. And we mentioned the Current Seafood Counter in Winter Park. They're opening up a new location right there on Colonial.
Yeah, that should be in the next couple of months. I think we're getting a closer the Current.
Salty Sisters, Tiffany's Bar and Restaurant in Cocoa Beach. Of course, Will's Pub, Dirty Laundry, Little Indies right there in Mills 50.
Yeah, tons of concerts this weekend. This is a heavy, heavy music weekend in that area.
And the Breeze, Whiskey Bar and Lounge in Kissimmee. We have a bunch of different partners. It's TomandDanWateringHoles.com. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got some surprise guests in today.
A little early for that. You know what? I was told yesterday I should not use the siren before 10 a.m. Chef Pat from Hollerbox told me that. He's right. He's a smart man. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Samantha Har's in studio. How you doing, Sam?
Surprise!
Hey.
I'm back, baby.
She's here. She's here.
And Eric Pabone's in studio. How you doing, Pabone?
Yeah.
You've changed a lot since the last time.
Oh my God, you look cool.
So have you, man.
Yeah.
You look like
That's
you get
true.
ready to film a Marvel movie.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little more bold.
I like you, Pabone.
But a
That's why
Marvel
he's
movie
here.
about a man who has AIDS and loves running.
I was just about to say you turned into Puerto Rican Fat Mike.
All you did.
But I stopped myself when you gave me that
Still said
compliment. No, I didn't. I was saying I was about to. Anyway, before we get into the Harbor House, and Sam wanted to promote a charity 5K coming up in April.
I got a couple things.
You gonna run it? You gonna run the 5K?
Well, I wanted to.
Yeah. You're a 5K man now.
But it lands on the date that I'm going to New York City.
New York City.
No big deal.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Country mouse in the big city.
Yeah, ask him why he's going
Why
to
you
New York
going?
City.
Well, Crystal got me tickets to see Ricky Gervais. And,
I didn't realize you were a Gervais fan.
Yeah, he loves really old
Oh,
British
so she's
comedians.
taking you to something you don't even want to go to again?
I'm actually not going to be there. I'm actually going to see live action Mr. Bean the same night. Yeah, no. I'm going to see the live action Black Adder. There's a reference for you. Did anybody ever watch Black Adder?
No.
I've heard of it, but no, I can't
Super
say.
dirty, Rowan Atkinson, British comedy. Look up Black Adder. Super funny. It's set in medieval times. You'll laugh. It's very funny.
Sam, let's talk about Harbor House first.
Okay.
Because if I get into complaining, it's going
you never get out.
eat up.
Never get out. She knows this.
Because I want to talk about teaching your spouse about how to do something and why they get so mad.
Can I have a gripe? I've never had a gripe.
Yeah.
Can I? Hold on. Hold on.
All right.
These are just observations. They are not just gripes.
Okay, there you go. I just have to play that. My first gripe is Samantha's noticed for how long has she knocked on the door? Don't knock on the door.
Well,
just come on in.
I don't know how. I know things run fast and loose here now that a female is not working here, so I didn't know what I was going to walk into.
I like it when women just open the door, and I'm like, oh!
Yeah, but
I did surprise the hell out of Tom. His eyes were like, whoa, what's she doing here?
We peed with the door open, which is another reason I want you to just open the door, because you never know where you're going to get.
I'm like, oh, God, I'm getting served. In my mind, I'm getting served by you.
Know what that means.
That would be hilarious if I served you.
You're like,
he doesn't know what that means. He just starts dancing really good.
You're like, I'm a process server now. My first lawsuit, you.
I saw your name come across the table, and I was like, let me have this one.
Oh, I got this one.
I got this one.
But hey, I'm just giving you the pass. You know what? Use the door code. Come on.
Yeah,
come
we
on
haven't
in.
changed it.
I know. I came in here last time.
Yeah, come on in.
We haven't stopped your email. Still Sam at TomandDan.com.
I know. I forward some of them to you.
Yeah, I know.
I've been waiting to say this.
That.
I've been waiting to say this, but I don't know if you'll look. Pabone, if you look to your left, you'll see Samantha's desk. I left it like a dead child's room.
Yeah, you did.
I left it like
my desk. In the office, it is completely covered in condiments.
Yeah. Well, that's Hot Sauce Island.
Okay.
That's my new. I have declared that Hot Sauce Island. But your desk in here, I've left it like a deceased child. Like I just closed the door. Like your bed is still unmade from that day when you were hit by the car. I leave it exactly the way it was because I'm a very sentimental, sensitive person.
Every day, Daniel buys a turkey sandwich,
and I set it there.
And he sets it on Hot Sauce Island. Yeah. And he takes one bite and
throw it in the trash. Throw it in the trash.
Every day it happens.
Not today. Today I had a ham sandwich with a little bit of mayonnaise on it. Not bad.
All right.
Not bad.
Back to charity. So tell us about this 5K. Tell us about what Harbor House does.
So I've worked with Harbor House in the past with Semantics. We've raised money for them. They are basically a domestic violence shelter for women and children and also their pets. So I came here to knock on your door to beg for either money or for vending for you guys. There is going to be a 5K. It's not until April. It's April 26th, which is my birthday. So if you want to do something for my birthday, you can come out here. It's in Baldwin. It's at Harbor Park. You can go to harborhouse.com and go to the events, and you can see all the information there. We are looking for vendors and people to donate either products to give away or monetary, if you want to just donate money, that always helps.
Kick a little money
to help
over to
feed these animals, house them, because they have a kennel on site.
And of course,
they need supplies too. You know, a lot of women will not leave a relationship because they can't bring their animals with them.
Sure.
And so this is one of the shelters where you can bring your animals. So.
And they will hold the animals.
Oh yeah, they're on property with
take
the
care
families.
of them.
Yeah, I think
you're ready.
I think they're actually with you. So that way, because that's a source of comfort.
You don't want to leave it's part of your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Like no one can ever, and I have kids, and I think I love my dog more than my daughter.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know that.
You told me that.
I've said that. I say that openly.
Well, you spend a lot more time.
Yeah, Maisie knows this.
When you're sitting at Hot Sauce Island, you often tell me how much you love your dog more than anyone.
Did you see the array of hot sauces?
I didn't actually go in. I saw it from a distance.
I have yellow and red sriracha. What do you want? I'm working on green. Working on green sriracha.
We should figure out a way to have the dogs run the 5K too, because I feel like
my dog can't run 5K. He's too little. He's too little to do it. He's got the little leg. He'll die if I run my dog a 5K. At the end of it, he's done. He's a done dog.
Also, I know you can't make the 5K, but maybe, perhaps on Thursday, February 6th, you can go to the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event, where famously a lot of people, including like Mayor Buddy Dyer,
Phil Rollins of Orlando City, has
you
done
walk
it.
in high heels for a mile downtown.
Typically,
to walk a mile in her shoes, and we're raising money for the shelter.
It's usually an influencer. It's someone of a higher.
Anyone can do it, but it definitely brings more.
They probably wouldn't want you because you're probably not high profile enough.
I'm going to try and ask. I know Brendan O'Connor has some shoes that'll fit you.
Yeah, I know that you call yourself Justin Bieber of Castleberry. Is that where?
Oh wow,
the Castleberry Bieber. Is that where we were?
Oh, is it a race? I'll do it if it's a race.
No, you just have to you just have to walk the mile. And from what I understand, most of the men never finish the mile in the high heels. So this could be the challenge. You could be the first male to complete.
Yeah.
It's from the courthouse to City Hall.
Well, I could do that.
In heels the whole time.
In high heels.
But there's got to be a first place.
I want you to run it.
I think if you complete it, you win.
Oh, but they everybody starts at the same time,
yeah.
right? So then there is a finisher first. You see what I'm saying? And I could be that guy.
I do see what you're saying, psychopath.
You don't have to be a man.
About it.
Yeah.
Do you see? There's a line on the ground, and it's just finished.
Well,
you're an insane person.
There has to be some recognition to the person that finishes
it's more
Well, they have winners for largest team fundraiser, so who raises the most money, and largest individual fundraiser. So if you want it to just be you that raises the most money, you could be the largest individual fundraiser.
I kind of just want to win the race and donate the most money.
You know what? I will get you a trophy if you win.
Is there an award for slappiest slap feet? Because this guy, they just whack, 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 whack.
That's gonna be rough in heels.
Yeah.
Who's my competition here? Because I think I could win this.
I think you're going up
you can win it.
I think you're going up against some.
I can beat
Buddy Dyer will probably do it.
I can beat him for sure.
He's on his way out.
He's fit now, man.
He's on his way
but
out.
he's
This
an
is his
older
last
gentleman.
term, so he'll probably do it.
I'm going to try and get Brendan to sign up. But
Who's the fittest person?
Well, Brendan
Brendan's not
can
a
run
runner.
in heels. He can run in heels.
he can. I've seen him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a
He can
runner.
dance and run
It
in
matters
heels.
if you can run in heels.
Yeah, he can't. But a mile, does he have the stamina?
I don't think he does. Yeah. If it were a glory hole, he would have the stamina.
Yeah, I know. There's things he's better than me at. He's stronger than me. He's tougher than me. But
when it comes to like lifting a twink up and down,
I think I could outrun him in a mile.
Not in heels. I'm going to give it to Brendan. I've seen him dance in heels.
Me too.
I saw him dancing on Sam's cruise. He's like,
I saw him run down the corridor of a cruise. I was like, that man can fly.
Yeah, and he's got he had on like red heels and a red like admiral's hat.
Yeah.
What's the stipulation on the heels? Can they be a chunky
No,
back?
can't be mules. Get out of here with that.
Hold on, what's the rules?
No, you got to have stilettos on, dog, or nothing to me.
No, is it stilettos only? I need to know the rules.
I'm stilettos only.
If the rules
Red bottoms, baby.
Any raised heel,
Oh, now you're just doing it.
No.
Are you gonna wear moon boots out there?
Don't even go out there. You don't want it. You don't want to do it.
if they give me the rules, and
What are you on, a wedge?
I'll follow the rules. If wedges are allowed, I could be number one.
I just heard
I love that he thinks that a charity event is going to have rules and not allow people to raise money just because it's not the
I'm
right
pretty
shoe.
sure that the people that are participating are the other big name radio hosts in town. And they're probably going to be faster than you.
No,
boy.
who's
boy.
faster than me? And the radio host.
I don't know. I heard Jim Colbert might be.
No. I could beat Jim Colbert.
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm thinking
I don't know if
every
you can.
radio show host. Maybe the hip hop station.
Yeah. Think you can
I don't think they have real people that work at that station anymore. I'm serious. Have you ever heard a live person?
Yeah. Can you beat a digital black guy in a race?
What about Roomba? You're not beating them.
No, never beaten Roomba.
Oh, hold on. They like to party.
They do like to party.
And they like to party, and they like to have festive foods. And I don't know if any of them are runners.
Good music.
I think I could outrun them. Anyway, we'll talk later. Sam.
All right.
So this is what I wanted to complain about. You mentioned that your husband tried to teach you guitar one time.
Well, I was in a music theory class, and I was learning how to play guitar. Via my actual teacher and the literature I was given. And as I'm trying to learn at home, I have an actual guitarist that lives with me who's amazing.
Yeah.
And, he'll start noodling around thinking he's helping, but it's just making me feel worse. Yeah.
So this has been an ongoing problem in my relationship since the beginning, really. Yeah, the beginning was easier.
Noodling?
No. I think, actually the first 5 or 6 years didn't seem to have this problem. It's like the last 15.
Well, you get a little more set in your ways, right?
Well,
He also gained confidence. I don't think he had confidence in the beginning.
My wife
She bullied you into a relationship. And now you have a little bit of confidence. And you're like, I'll show you how to do things now.
No. She absolutely despises anytime I try to teach her anything.
But is it just you or is it anybody?
Yeah, but
because there are people that don't like to be taught at all. They like to figure it out on their own.
But there are very few things you know how to do accurately.
Okay, well, yeah.
So
Well, I
does
know
that matter?
Well, that was my question.
That
Is it
does
something
matter.
that you feel you're good at?
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Well, he feels like he's good at everything.
Exactly. I think I could teach anybody anything. That's literally a
true.
meaningless
Yeah.
statement. I could teach you how to do anything,
Okay.
but I don't know what I'm doing.
Would you say that I know a little bit about marketing?
Yeah.
A little bit, sure.
I'd give you marketing. I'd give you plants. I'd give you marketing.
The way you said that, though.
plants,
I'd give you event planning.
Yeah.
Certainly.
AT&T going.
Yeah, event planning.
Detailed event planning, I'd give you 100%.
Okay. So let's just agree on those three things. I know some information.
Yeah, you have absolute areas of expertise, for sure.
I'm not an expert, but I know I've done it a few.
Sure, you got experience.
Not my first rodeo.
But I think I'd even go higher, not to pump you up, but like local podcast event experience, you are an expert.
So
there's not any other people doing it.
So let's just say I come up with some marketing ideas for the Bart Merrick team, right? And then I
so this has happened before.
And then
oh my God! Please tell me some of the marketing ideas.
Let me translate.
No.
I'm sure Crystal will tell us the marketing. Just text Crystal.
And then we're driving down the road. Worst
place to give your marketing ideas. Driving down the road.
She gets mad if I just listen to podcasts. She's like, "Oh, you don't want to talk to me? You're just listening off in your own world."
But talking to her means you need to give her ideas, right?
Well, if I try to teach her anything,
how about something casual, like just talk about
your kids
pop
or something.
culture.
I don't know.
Is this advice like solicited?
Well,
no.
Okay.
Well, she's complaining about something. She's like, I need to make more money.
But that's event.
Yes, that's event.
I'm not asking for Pabon to give me. I just want to tell him. I just want to get some steam.
My point being is that she gets so irritated if I try to teach her anything that it got to the point where I asked her,
what were you trying to teach her?
Anything. I said, would you rather me teach you anything or smash your pinky with a hammer? She was like, ugh. She was thinking about it.
Really? She was thinking about the
That's
pain.
how excruciating it is to her that she was thinking about smashing her finger.
Listen, you also are extremely long-winded, which is
Yeah.
very difficult when you're trying to learn something from someone and they never actually get to the goddamn point.
Lesson 1 is like, oh my God, lesson 1. You're like, this here's the guitar.
Oh, God.
All right, these here are the strings.
These are your fingers.
You sound like Crystal because she told me yesterday, she's like, your stories are too long. I'm like, what
Cut to the chase, man.
I know.
And she's like, I was in the studio the other day, and I was like, my God, this story's long-winded. She's like, get to the point.
Sometimes when we're coming around for the 4th time, I will now interject and be like, so what?
What happened?
Yeah, let's let him
Oh,
answer.
you think that was too?
Oh, God.
She literally just spit in my face.
What? Just tell me.
Is there anything I'm saying to you that warranted you hawk-toing my
Very
face?
upset.
You just hawk-toed my
What
face.
are you going to tell me? If my stories are too long, I'm getting too long-winded.
Yeah, but it's not good.
I don't know. I think they like it.
It's not a good. It's when we have guests in here and you're coming around for the 4th time. It's bad form to be like, this guy's questions are too long. Knock it off.
No one ever tells me.
No one ever tells you. The biggest lie you may have ever told.
I try to tell you with my eyes. I try to go like,
I don't know.
I go like this. I go like, come on.
Sit me down after the show and be like, hey.
I mean, it's been a running joke for 12 years that
I never get any emails. They're like, oh my God, we're
they
tired
post
of
about it in the BDM group.
I don't look at that.
Okay.
Anyway, so, but now, Sam, you said you got irritated when Travis tried to teach you guitar. And my
Guess what? Gave up guitar.
Yeah.
So my point is...
Chasing away the competition. Nice job, Travis.
Is because I don't have this with Crystal could teach me whatever. Like if she started teaching me real estate, I'll listen. Anything.
No, you don't believe that. You don't believe,
I will.
You don't believe that for a second. You don't believe.
Here's the problem is,
come on, I almost cursed. You effing say it. Say there's something she can teach you. You don't believe it.
No, she knows more.
What? About?
She knows more about like going on the MLS and the whole things.
I think here's where the disconnect is with you. Just because you are good at something or have experience in something does not mean you're good at teaching that thing to someone else.
All right.
Because she could be a good teacher.
That's Jeff Howe.
You could be good at something, but not good at teaching it.
Yeah,
you know
Jeff
what I mean?
Howe is an amazing guitarist. Jeff Howe, one of my favorite songwriters, but he will tell you straight to your face. He's like, I can't teach people, so don't even ask me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not good at it. Don't have the patience for it. I'm not your guy.
Because it's like you're not doing it right. And that,
Yeah.
there's something there that,
Yeah.
So my question is though, can or are there spouses out there that can teach each other stuff and they're cool with it? Because what I'm
Are
saying
you talking
is,
to me? Because I can't.
I don't think spouses can teach each other things.
I was
I think they
trying
can
to-
if they're a good. Again, I think it comes down if the person is actually a good teacher or not.
We got to find a teacher.
We We know teachers.
Because I know, okay, let's bring up, I know two teachers that are my friends.
Talk to the Browns.
The Browns.
Yeah.
They're constantly yelling at each other.
Well, they're lifelong educators. Yeah, they're all, I mean, you go on the camping trip and they're just lighting each other up.
Wait, they're both teachers?
Yeah.
That cancels each other out because they think they can teach better than the other. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
you got to get one teacher in the relationship.
The female Brown is constantly yelling at the male Brown.
My mom was a teacher.
Yeah,
my dad not
that
a
sounds
teacher.
Racist, but
they would never teach it. My dad cannot be taught. And my dad also believed there's nothing that my mom could teach him because he was smarter than my mom, which is what I believe you believe.
What,
Oregon? My dad thinks Oregon's gay. You know what? He's like, I don't want to learn that. I have no use for that. Music is for weak people. Music is what weak people play while strong people are fighting. That's what my dad thought, I feel like, right? Something like that? Something along those lines?
He
never discussed this, but you could just look at him and tell he didn't think that my mom would teach him anything.
Yeah. Well, he thinks like I think. So
I know you do. There's so many parallels between you and my dad. I think that's why I love you so much. Is like I see it sometimes. I'm like, he's just doing it. He's just doing it.
I just want to find the spouse out there that can teach their spouse.
Can you teach
partner
Travis?
Something.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever taught him anything.
Because you know a lot of stuff, like went to school for audio editing. You know
I would
your
even
way
say
around podcasting.
he might even be better at that though, because he was like making music since he was 13.
He does like beats, and then he can
he
dabble
taught
in
himself.
drums and
so
guitar.
I'd say he's probably better than I am at all that.
Just from fumbling around.
From experience of doing it longer.
It does help you to figure it out.
Would you ever go to Travis and ask him to teach you something that he knows, that you know that he knows better than you?
Yes, but again, he also taught me how to play drums.
Okay.
And I played drums, and it was fine.
You were good, too.
But also, he's not the best drummer. So it also could be a thing where he goes from teaching to almost gloating about, you know what I mean? Again, I'm here trying to learn I'm trying to learn one chord, and instead of, maybe possibly teaching me better technique or something, he's off in his own world playing an entire song. And I'm like, well, you're not teaching me. You're just showing off.
Yeah,
at this
Maisie
point,
one day wanted me to show her drums, and that proceeded to me hooking up Bluetooth from my phone to the drum set.
Yeah.
And I went full Neil Peart on it.
Just doing a drum solo.
And that is annoying to people that don't know how to do it. Yeah.
I was like, what song? Name a song. Any song. I can improv it. And she played it. I'm laying down the funk, a little bit. She's like, wow, that sounds good. Can I try? I'm like, no, you go find your mom. We're done here. You got your lesson. Like
Pabone, could you ever teach your wife how to draw? Or how to do art?
Oh, drawing I feel like drawing, you just landed on the one that I'm not sure that can be. Drawing is a weird one for me.
I want to say, when I've tried to teach my wife things, she's just disinterested because she's like, this bores me. What you're interested in is dumb.
That's like my whole
See, I knew there was others out there.
As the only female here, I have to say, you're trying to teach her something you want to teach her, not something she wants to learn.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to teach her something she wanted to learn, and has she been receptive?
She doesn't want to learn anything that I know anything about.
Well, that's not her fault.
Great
That's
answer.
not her fault.
They
don't know anything fun.
You're on the board.
Yeah, because the wives, they start to hate the things that you love.
Yeah. But it takes time away from them.
Yeah.
So it's like a resentment. It's like an ingrained resentment. It's like, oh, so you like tinkering on your car, do you? Well, I hate that.
Yeah. Crystal, even though she loves nature, started hating plants.
Yeah.
She's like, these plants are flies everywhere. I'm like, what? You love plants.
Yeah.
You hugged a tree the other day.
But she knew you loved the plants more than her.
Yeah.
I genuinely like to teach, and I'll catch myself like going on tangents about like, oh yeah, this guitar or this band, and her eyes just
tuned you out, right?
Yeah, you can watch the life leave her body. She's
That's mine. I'll be telling Andrea like some music fact. I'll be like, do you know who originally did this song? And she's like, I don't care. We've almost gotten to that point now where she's like, you just say it anyway. I don't care. Pull your pants down. I'll slap it. It's just a loveless prison. This is a prison. So I work this prison. I work at this prison, so I'm a guard at this prison, and then I go home and put myself in a cell.
Let's plug Paul's for peace one more time.
It's pause, like dog have pause, not Paul.
Paul's for peace.
Paul's for peace.
That's it. Paul's.
Say it again.
Paul's.
Pause.
Yes.
Pause. P-A-W-S. Pause.
P-A-W-S.
Like a dog's paws, not a dog's poles.
But it's like play and
pause.
Pause. That's how you dogs.
Why
balls.
are you saying it so long?
There's no L.
You wouldn't say to your wife, like, hey, I'm getting a drink. Press pause. You wouldn't say that.
He's trying to make sure he says
say
the
pause.
W.
But
Pause.
there's play and pause.
You got it.
And there's
that
a
time.
dog pulls.
Not
There's no L.
Pause.
You're going Pauls.
Pulls.
Are you one of those kids that call crayons crowns?
Crowns.
Crayons.
I'm a crayon man.
I'm a crayon man.
We know you should see his contracts with the clients. All crayon. If you'll just sign right here using the silver.
That's the redneck.
Yeah, he has people sign in silver crayon because it's fancy.
Pauls and crayons.
The silver one
Yeah,
also.
if you just go to
feels good.
harborhousefl.com, there's a event tab, and there's all the events they're having. You can sign up for and donate. If you want to just donate, maybe you can't make an event, you can also just donate straight on the website as well.
There
Perfect.
you go.
Well, Sam, thanks so much
Yeah,
for
always
stopping
good
by.
seeing you.
You're
Next time, just come in.
Okay.
Always welcome to stop by
Please,
anytime.
please.
And
Kick in the door the next time Seth's here.
Oh, that would be funny.
and
Does he still come by?
Yeah,
very sad.
I know he had the kid, and I didn't know.
No, he's
yeah.
a bad way.
He gets a hypochondria crazy
Worse than
again.
ever. Worse than ever. Cried on the show last week.
No.
He thought he
Don't
had
talk about it.
ALS,
Yeah.
but he just took too many
Cried on the
vitamins.
show, and Tom laughed right in his
That's
face.
too many vitamins.
Listener, like, Pabone, you're going to get an email. You can't. People were mad that you laughed in his face.
No,
People were mad that you laughed in his face.
But he's
real
fine.
Tears, real tears.
He took too many vitamins, and
Real
his
tears.
legs started tingling, and he thought he had ALS. That's funny, right? Like, and people were like, "Oh, you're insensitive." He thought he was going to die, but I'm like,
He
he's
always
fine.
thinks he's going to
I
die.
know.
Why does this one make it different?
Yeah, it's
I'm
funny.
with you, Tom. I've never said that.
Did you see my face? Like somebody pulled out my face when she said, I agree with you, Tom. What the hell is happening today? All right. Harbor House. Go support. Give some money.
Yes. Thank you.
Pause for peace.
Better. That was better.
Okay.
All right.
And we will be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We're live on YouTube and Twitch, and you can check out the show. We'd love for you to do so. Just search at Tom and Dan Live. We broadcast Monday through Friday from about 10:30 till 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and we'd love for you to join us. Are you cold?
Yeah, I
I'm
was
freaking
freezing.
freezing. Yeah, I saw you rubbing your hands, and I've got a sweatshirt on. I'm freezing.
Did you curse? Did
I?
I thought you said the F word.
Did I?
You may have said freaking.
I'm free. Oh yeah, I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. No free will. I just react to things. I'm a pinball. I'll have to ask the chat room. Did I curse? I thought I said freaking.
You may have.
Or I said I'm freezing. I think I said I'm freezing.
Okay, all right. I thought you said effing freezing, and then I was like, oh, you did it right off the bat.
Oh, Andrea, my wife's in there. Thank God I have my conservator in there to tell you and everybody else.
Also,
Andrea's saying she would go back. All right. Less than a minute in, I'm already off to a bad start.
If you want to sign up to become a BDM, you go to tomandan.com. You'll see it on the right-hand side of the page. And if you are a BDM, you can be involved in BDM Appreciation Week, which is coming up here in April.
It is.
And that's when we do a party for BDMs only. We also put out a $5 BDM shirt for BDMs only.
I thought we were shooting for a $1 or $2 shirt this year.
Well,
I'm going to be a little disappointed if it's still $5.
we can't get.
It's got to get lower. You
But
gotta
the shirt prices keep going up, so the fact that we're keeping it at
eggs
$5
keep going up.
Yeah.
Shirts are going down.
Yeah, like,
and I want American shirts. I don't want none of this China shirts.
There is no American shirt.
I want American shirts.
There is no American
Look, either
anything.
make your products in America or tough. I've been watching the news.
Anyway, let's do some weird job.
All right, buddy. Weird Job Wednesday on deck. Brand new song. Let's do it.
Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really liked it. Tom said that's bullshit.
Just another Weird Job Wednesday.
What are you doing? What is your job?
This is corny, right? I like it.
Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people that are working by the hour? Weird Job Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a sitcom intro.
Yeah. You're the dad. You're the dad. I'm the mom.
Oh, yes, it's Weird
Wait, I'm the housekeeper. I'm Alice.
Job Wednesday. Just another week.
Oh, wait for your thank you.
Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Oh.
And then there's some old like black granny, and they think, oh. Zuka now. There you go. Little Weird Job Wednesday theme song. What do you think of that one?
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by modernpi.com. Get that 10% discount by saying Tom and Dan. On the line with us, we have Anthony. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing well, guys. Thank you. That was a banger intro.
Thank you. You know what? I did. I worked so hard on that.
So,
I'm going to start saying that. I'm going to start saying that. Do you know how hard it is to get, especially at like around 6:15 in the morning, do you know how hard it is to wrangle all the horn players into the studio and lay down some tasty riffs? It was so hard. And that one, normally I have like 12 horns. That one's only 8.
That's why you guys are the professionals.
Yes, sir. You know it.
Anthony, what is your job?
So I am currently a bowling center manager, but I just recently switched that job. I was a bowling pro shop operator for the majority of my life.
Wait, so you used to be the guy that sold the bowling balls and the accoutrement, and now you're the big cheese. You're the big pen.
Yeah, you could say that. I was a professional ball handler for about 14 years.
Hey, I like that. My mom was a professional organist.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, she played every organ but my dad's. Hey, little bowling and organ jokes here. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
So, Anthony, do you mind saying what bowling alley?
Yeah, so it's Sunshine Bowling Center here in DeLand, Florida.
Hell yeah, that is my home. And so we called it Sunshine Lanes. I have had many a wet finger.
Oh, come on.
In the sunshine. I can say that. I can say that. In the Sunshine Lanes.
Because
you put your finger in the balls, Tom. What were you thinking about? That's the skating rink, you idiot.
So, Anthony, let's talk about, first let's start with Pro Shop. So everything in the Pro Shop, it's like you buy, how do you buy a bowling ball? Step
you
one.
buy it with the money. You go in there, you got to get sized for one.
Yeah,
ding dong.
like what pounds do you, is it
no, it's
based on your
we
own
use dollars here, sir. We use dollars here. You get the hell out of my country.
No, like how heavy of a ball do you know to use? Is it based on your own weight? What is it?
A little bit. That's where you kind of lean on the guy in the pro shop. You go in, you could say, I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing, and then through a couple of questions, I kind of go back and forth with people, figure out, kind of where they want to be, and then, we have a couple bowling balls there. I put it in their hands. We say, what are you comfortable with? There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's not kind of like just a walk-in and, an impulse kind of thing.
I want a rhino.
I never tried to make it that way.
I want a rhino, and I want those little rubber nibbies in the inside of the holes that feel good on my finger.
We got plenty of nibbies. We can take care of that for you.
This guy knows it. See, he knows what he's talking about. He knows about nibbies.
But is there, like, say, I walk in there, are you going to...
You look like a bowler, by the way. The way that you're...
What are we talking, 13 pounds? I could lift, Anthony.
Yeah. So, if you're comfortable with 13, that would be totally fine. I usually try to get people to go as heavy as they can handle without hurting themselves.
Hard
You're usually going to knock down more pins that way.
Hard and heavy, hard to carry is what I'm saying.
Okay, so what's the advantage? Heavier the ball, the better your opportunity to knock down the pins?
I believe it's the bigger they are, the harder they fall, Tom, is what you're looking for.
As long as they're not blue. Typically, it's just physics. The heavier the bowling ball that you can handle to throw, the more energy you're going to have going through the pins, and the more opportunity you're going to have to strike. It doesn't always work out like that, but that's just the basicness of it.
So you're increasing your sweet pin action.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So what's the difference? So I get a 13-pound, 13
You're
pounder.
not going to roll a 13, are you? That's a girl's ball, baby.
That's a girl? No, girls have a 10 and under.
13-pounder. What are we doing here?
I thought that was a heavy one.
Let me introduce. Have you ever met 16-pound Danny?
16
My wife
pounds?
goes 12 pounds, just so you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I roll a full. 16 pounds what I use for spares, but if I'm trying to get strikes, 26-pounder.
Well, give me the heaviest one you have.
Yeah.
What do you got?
16 is the heaviest. I traditionally recommend 15, but either is fine.
Okay. So now
I run like it's made for me. It's like a personalized ball. Mm-hmm. And I'm currently running about a 31-pound ball.
So what's the difference between brands of balls? I'm sure what's the most expensive?
Are you a hammer? Are you a rhino man? What do you like?
So I actually just recently signed with Hammer under that umbrella, so they are sponsoring me. Those are the bowling balls that I throw and stuff like that. But I've been with a multitude of other companies, and there are differences with the way that they're manufactured as far as their design intent. But as far as it's kind of like it's a Chevy versus a Ford versus a Toyota. You're going to have people that like their different brands and they're slightly different. But with the way the technology has come along these days, there's really not a bad bowling ball. There's just bowling balls that maybe don't match up to the person that they're looking for.
Let me correct you. I only roll American bowling balls, sir.
That is true. There are bowling balls that are not made in America. That does sway people quite a bit. Yeah,
you're not going to find me. You're not going to find me rolling.
Well, not everything was not made in America.
No, bowling balls. Hammer.
What are they made in?
Hammer is a USA product.
Milwaukee. Where are bowling balls made?
Detroit.
Yeah, and so a lot of them are made in Salt Lake City, Brigham City, Utah, Michigan, and then some of them are designed in America and then produced in Mexico. So that's what he's referring to.
All right.
There's a Mexican bowling ball joke there. You're as useless as a Mexican bowling ball, boy.
How do you starve a Mexican bowling ball?
That's too far. That was a little too far for me. That made me uncomfortable.
So
it really didn't.
Anthony, so now what are we talking for a high-end 16-pounder these days, 2025 prices?
I want my name etched into it.
If you're getting the me price, you're getting full retail.
Show me full retail. I want to, full retail.
Full retail in our pro shop right now, you're looking at about $260 for the bowling ball with the drilling, and if you want any of the nubbies and any of the extra stuff, you're probably going to get out the door for a little under $300 for the top of the line, absolute best of the best.
That's not bad at all.
Do they eventually wear out? Like you only have so many throws before you need to shave them or something?
You gotta shave them. Shave your ball. He's been dying to say that. We'll be right back.
I mean, sand them or
you want to keep them smooth for sure.
Oh my God, you guys.
Without getting too complicated with it, yes, the bowling balls do wear out over time. They can still be thrown down the lane, but the performance starts to really, really drop off. It'd be like if you had a car and never changed the oil.
Yeah.
You can still drive it, but it's not going to drive as well as it did.
It's like my wife. I can still go down the lanes, but it's just, doesn't feel it. Feel anything.
So let's switch over
to
walking
in a vacuum.
The business of the whole bowling alley, because
Because you're the big cheese, man. You could kick people out of there. Do you get free hamburgers?
Not hamburgers, wings, though. Rachel's Wing Shack. That's where I get my hookup.
Hell yeah.
So I am familiar with bowling alleys. The Van family likes to go bowling.
You don't like to talk about this. You out-trash me on this one, because I'm the Walmart family, but you guys love bowling.
We've been bowling twice this month already. We met Pudge up at Universal.
Oh, my God.
He was at Universal this past weekend, and we met him.
So instead of going to the theme parks, you went bowling?
No, he was staying at that Universal Resort. They have a bowling alley at the top. I will say, great atmosphere and table placement. Poor lanes. Like, they didn't wax their lanes. Me and the boys were like, the ball's not moving correctly.
Yeah.
Someone needs to wax these lanes.
What happens when people get in it for the wrong reasons. You guys are true bowlers, right? Like the Vans.
The ball wasn't...
you guys are like, all this time you thought you were from Native Americans, and you're not. You're from a long line of fat bowlers.
And we went to the Colonial Bowl, Bullrock Bowl,
you're
3 weeks ago.
You're one step above darts.
We usually hit up a Loma Bowl. That's packed on Saturdays. Anyway, so but
you
the point
get in a league.
So where's the money at?
Shoes. Money's in the shoes.
Is it in the concessions and the food?
Nachos.
Is it just in the actual bowling per hour? Because prices have gone up. I think the average price for a couple hours, a couple games is what now, Anthony?
It really depends. There's the privately owned bowling centers, which are going to come in a little bit cheaper, but then there's the more corporate-owned ones like Bolero and stuff like that, where they're charging quite a bit more. I would say a lot of the money is going to come in from the concessions. The bowling, you've got to get the people in the bowling center. You got to get them in there, and then you want them to spend their money in different things that you can kind of profit off of a little bit more. The bowling is what they're there for, so we got to get them to then want to be interested in everything else that we have to offer.
How long does a typical pair of bowling shoes last? Because I've always wondered, around about how many years, how many uses you get out of them.
Well, they do it in feet. How many pairs of feet?
When I was selling bowling shoes, if I sold a basic end pair of bowling shoes to somebody, I told them they'd get, if they bowled a decent amount, a little over a year out of it, maybe 2 if they're really lucky. If you get a higher end pair of shoes and you take care of them, they can last, quite a few years if you're not, you're not bowling every single day, you can get quite a bit of use out of them.
Hold on, a little over a year. I was expecting you to say life.
Well, no, I think he means like if you're like a soccer player, like if you're playing in a league and playing all the time.
Okay,
you're probably going to need some maintenance to your shoes.
Yes, the soles wear out, they get smooth, the heels wear out. Things of that nature. If you're very heavy-footed, you can actually kind of start to split them just a little bit.
If you're fat. Yeah, if you're a fat guy, you got to get the new shoes.
What about the rentals? How long do those last? It seems like...
they put the big heels on them, right? You got to clop those up.
They're pretty sturdy. I was like, these things have, got to be years in them.
So a little behind the scenes, those actually get replaced quite often. And because they're not yours, people will actually end up accepting something that's a little raggedy looking or split or something like that. But if you pay $50, $60, the first time you get a little scuff on it, people are upset with it. So they'll accept the fact that these shoes are functional a lot easier because they're not actually theirs. So that's kind of where that trade-off happens.
Does the spray you guys spray in the shoes do anything, or is that just water?
No, it gets rid of the foot fungus for sure.
Okay, all right. That was a myth I had written down.
So what about do you have your own in-house mechanics to fix the actual pin resetting machines?
Oh yeah, they are the heartbeat of the bowling center. Without them, I am not mechanically inclined whatsoever. So we would not be able to function without them. We have three mechanics, 2 full-time, 1 part-time, maintaining the machines, making sure everything is where it needs to be and functioning so everyone can have the best experience possible.
How often are you having to update the equipment? I mean, having 2 full mechanics full-time, that's a lot. So I'm assuming that because it's getting so much use, there's so many, pieces in play here.
Moving parts.
Yeah. So can you explain, what breaks the most, or what's sort of, what are these guys?
The most common problem?
Or is this are they running like an airline, kind of like they're walking it and making sure everything's working all the time? Is it more like that?
I will say that those machines are not my particular expertise. I know enough to get in trouble, essentially.
Right.
But basically, there are an incredible amount of moving parts, electrical and mechanical, in every single machine pin setter that if one wire is slightly off or crossed or one thing is rubbing in one direction, the machine is kind of built, as far as I understand it, to not want to hurt itself. So if there is a problem, it's either going to start to slow down or not work or just shut itself off in layman's terms. So from the way I understand it, the constant maintenance is to make sure that all of those little tiny pieces are working properly. All the bigger motors and everything like that usually don't have too much of issues. It's all those little tiny pieces that could go wrong and cause a bigger issue.
Gotcha.
How often do you have to wax the lanes? Because I'm sure that people complain about
the lane things really bother me.
Dry lanes, and the ball spins differently, and then
it's really bothering him.
And then my kids start bitching, and they're like, everything's going to left.
I do love that your sons, the kids that notice nothing, will complain about the lanes not being waxed. That's true bowling, boys. You should exploit the fact that your boys are bowling.
They're like, this is rigged, and I was like, is there a manager here? When's the last time these lanes have been waxed? Go ahead.
So obviously this is your guys' show, but I am going to correct you. It is not wax; it is oil. So we do oil the lanes every morning for our open play, and then once again at night for our league play.
It's like telling somebody Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Correct.
Every morning they are freshly oiled?
Yes, every morning for our open play, except on Fridays, and then every night they are re-oiled again for our league bowlers.
God, I wish I was every night except for Fridays. Fridays is dry.
So what about the birthday parties? Because I know I had a bowling birthday party.
So much money on the birthday parties.
Yeah, that seems
2
like
cheese pizzas.
Yeah. Is there good money and good margins in that?
Yeah, there's definitely a good amount of margins in there. It's all about the bowl, just getting them in there. So what we make technically off of the birthday package we're not trying to make, hand over fist on it. We're just trying to get kids in there with their parents, and then you make the money off the sodas and then the snacks and the popcorn and all the extra additionals. But yeah, the birthday parties do pretty well for us.
What's the worst thing or worst place in the bowling alley that someone has ever number 2'd?
Oh, man, I haven't been there long enough, but, I would hope just the bathroom.
No, that's Sunshine Lanes, my friend.
It's been on the floor.
Oh, my God, it's been everywhere.
In the return.
On the return.
Conveyor belt.
Yeah, that would be a disaster. Yeah.
There's a legend of a man that filled all 3 holes and rolled it down the lane.
How many rental balls do you have available at one time? Are we talking
You mean the ones that I
hundred,
walk through and like I pick up all of them, I'm carrying them around, you know?
So if my math is correct, it's 24, I think, every other pair. So we're looking at like a little over 240 in the traditional side, and probably another 30 or so or 40 in the VIP. I might be slightly off on those numbers,
VIP.
but it's quite a bit to be able to get everyone done.
Whoa.
Daniel hasn't been there since a kid.
I know.
You know, back in the 70s, they didn't have VIP. They were just smoking.
Yeah, when I was in there, I was smoking with Johnny Carson.
Yeah, our VIP section is very, 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 very popular with everybody, for sure.
Oh, I know what that means.
So I'm curious, what kind of like insurance do you need? Because the last time we were bowling, my wife like tweaked her knee a little bit. And because it seems like no one knows what they're doing for the most part, and you're throwing a heavy ball. And I imagine there's a lot of people that blow their MCL out, you know what I'm saying, or slip on the
Drop
oil.
a ball on their foot.
Yeah. Like, and I imagine as big insurers, they're looking at this and they're like, you got a bunch of drunk people throwing heavy balls, slipping all over the place. Like, we're going to charge you out the ass for insurance because it's going to be so crazy.
So, like I said, as far as I know, because I'm just newer to this side of it. If you've ever been to our bowling center, there is a screen that basically says "bowl at your own risk," and it kind of goes over like you're opting into doing this, understanding that there is the possibility for injury. That kind of protects us from that kind of stuff. If there's anything that happens to the person while they're in our facility, obviously we have to take care of that. But if it's not directly our fault for negligence of any reason, then we're pretty much covered under any kind of insurance stuff, as far as I understand it.
Nah.
Yeah, I love that. And that's as you walk in, right? Like, do you guys still have the lobby? And when you walk in, there's like posted signs in the lobby area, right?
Yeah, there's that, and then when we send you down to a lane on your lane before you hit get started, there's a whole thing. Not now you not necessarily don't. Now everyone reads it, but it is there, so you have to have it there.
Right. No, I understand.
Do you have some sort of fun
animations
that pop up, especially like, let's say you get 3 strikes, you get a turkey, and then you get spare. Like, there used to be animations for every little your 7-10 split.
I like a
banana.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of a bowling pin with sunglasses on, looking into the camera and saying, "Oh yeah!" When you get a strike, I like that.
What do you got there, Anthony?
So those are actually going to be specific to certain scoring systems. Some scoring systems have more than others. Ours has the ability to do that, but I don't believe we have that function turned on.
Okay.
So you get a pretty straightforward experience when you come to see us.
Can I use the N-word as my name when I bowl? That's a pop quiz.
That
was a test. That was a test. Yeah. Pull that audio. Cancel it.
So my sons are a big fan of the new technology of the being able to put your picture instead of your name.
You can put your picture?
Yeah,
I'm
old school Danny.
Old school Danny. I've never been bowling.
Yeah,
it's the only place you out-trash me.
Yeah. Last time Daniel bowled, there's a dot matrix. Everything was green and black.
It was a pencil and paper.
Pencil paper.
Yeah, it was like golf.
So do you
the overhead projector?
Yeah.
Do you have the picture technology built in there? My sons love it.
Yes, we have that in our VIP section. It's got an option where it's basically like a giant tablet. You take a picture of yourself, and that is the backdrop of your bowling screen, and you can take multiple, for every different player when it pops up.
Can you take a picture of your ding dong?
That
was the correct answer. That one you saved.
They don't have no software to block ding dongs or whatever.
They don't, and I'm wearing sweatpants in VIP.
How much tomfoolery do you get on like a general month where like I see these you see like America's Funniest Home Videos every once in a while, like someone will attempt to bowl, and for whatever reason their fingers will be stuck, and then the ball will get launched into the TVs.
The number one cause of that are Snyder's honey mustard and onion pretzel pizza.
And
then it'll knock the drop ceiling down or whatever.
It lands on some old lady's porta-scoot.
Yeah. Like how many catastrophes do you deal with?
So just a small little background. I'm 30. I've been in a bowling center since I was 10 years old. I've physically, in my life, only seen someone throw through the roof one time. So thankfully, I don't see that very often. It hasn't happened a ton at our center. What will happen is a lot of times people will throw a bowling ball and the sweep will be down and they'll just bash the sweep. That happens daily. People will get a bowling ball stuck in the gutter, and then they'll think, oh, I'm just going to throw another bowling ball at it. And they don't realize that when the other bowling ball hits it, that one dead stops. You launch the one forward, and that one stays there. So we get that pretty often, but luckily, knock on wood, it's so far not a tremendous amount of stuff that can't be fixed pretty easily.
Let me ask you this, Anthony. And this is more of a personal opinion.
Do you need some sentimental music, or what do you need here?
So don't put your business hat on for this. And don't give me the generic business answer, because I know what that is. But let's
Speak from your heart. Is that what you're asking him to talk from? Talk from your heart.
Let's just say one of my sons, they can't get the ball. They roll a gutter ball, and then it stops, right? And let's say it's not, 3/4 of the way. It's only a quarter of the way, and it's stopped in the gutter, right? Mm-hmm. And I could call an employee over and then
you walk on the top.
Or I just walk.
Don't touch the oil.
I just walk on not on the actual lane, but I walk on the actual top of the gutter.
Part. Yeah.
That separates the lane.
Oh, unless they don't still have that. I don't know if it's been replaced with lasers now.
I walk over there. I pick up the bowling ball. I walk back. Everything's good. I know what I'm doing. I save the employee's time.
You gotta leave now.
Or
you'll be asked to leave.
Or when you see someone do that, it makes you mad. You're like, sir, you're not allowed to.
Please, the oil, the oil, sir.
What do you think, Anthony?
I'm going to give you the Karen answer. Because of insurance, like we talked about prior, the liability of you stepping past the foul line is also a big issue for us. So, and just because you can do it doesn't mean the guy who's had a couple too many will see you do it and think he can do it, and then there's a bigger issue for us.
That's me.
So
he's talking about.
It's no issue to me. I'll run out there 100 times to correct an issue rather than having someone who shouldn't be out there do it. Gotcha. I have no problem doing that.
What's the dumbest thing you've seen someone do? Speaking of, have you ever seen someone try to walk down the actual lane and then do this?
I have one, and it was a kid, and the parents weren't paying attention.
Oh, no.
And the kid made it almost to the sweep. And not to get too graphic, but if that sweep hits that kid's not coming back. So that was probably the craziest thing I've ever seen. Where
if the sweep sweeps a child in, the child gets grounded. This is awesome. Hold on.
Well, ground him up and then make him into pins.
Turn him into a bowling ball. Then he's a bowling ball slave.
Basically, what the pins come down on is called the table. So if that kid gets swept back and that gets dropped on them, it's very heavy. And if not, they might get their hand or something caught in something. It'd be just a horrible thing.
God.
But thank God the kid stopped. The mother yelled.
Would you let us come to your bowling alley and throw a baby doll through your...
Yeah. Well, we can talk to our head mechanic about that. If he'll let you do it, that's
I'll give him a case of old Milwaukee.
And of all the time I've ever bowled, and this is true,
which is a lot,
I've never seen the machine make a mistake where they didn't put 10 pins. It's like, there's only 8 pins up.
I always have that when I do these charity bowling things. My lane's always the dumb lane.
Like I've seen it malfunction and just not operate, but I've never seen it actually put up a wrong number of pins. Mm-hmm. And I thought,
you mean too many?
No, too little. You know what I'm saying? So is there some sort of it just won't put anything but 10? How does that work?
No, so there is something where that can happen. Basically, there's a sensor that'll kind of tell the rack that there's enough pins in there. And if that sensor is malfunctioning, it won't drop down a full rack. Again, to my loose understanding, that is not my expertise. But yeah, if the sensor isn't triggered the right way and the pin isn't loaded into its position, it will still set it. The machine will think there's 10 there, but there might only be 8. It might only be 6. Sometimes the sensors malfunction. But that's a very rare thing, and that's an easy fix.
Have you ever had any famous people come to Sunshine Lanes or Sunshine Bowling Center?
Famous in the bowling world, yeah. Maybe not famous in the real big world. But,
who you got? Give me some names there.
Greg the Split Johnson.
Yeah, what about the guy with the poofy hair? Who's that guy with the big hair?
Kyle Troop. That's exactly what I was going to mention. Kyle Troop bowled in our center 2 years ago for one of our bigger tournaments. Yeah,
have you seen this
guy? A lot of professionals. Huh?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Let's say I'm there and I'm like,
look at this guy.
I'm 8 frames into a perfect game. Mm-hmm. do you still do some sort of celebration?
You need that hair. You need the Kyle Troop hair. That's my favorite bowler. Kyle Troop.
Do they have a perm? Or what is that?
No, dog.
It's an afro. He's the best.
Yeah, this guy kills it.
How does a white guy get an afro? Or
he bowls. He bowls. He has that
Very
much.
talented.
Yeah, this guy's very talented.
Yeah, but it's genetics. Anyway, so do you make a big deal out of a perfect game? How often does that actually happen?
That's a great question.
So in open play, if someone's got a 300, I'll announce it. Like, I think it's cool if someone just off the street that I've never seen before bowls 300. I don't care if it doesn't technically count. I'll announce it. I think it's cool. In league, we also do announce it, and you do get awards for it in league. It just depends on the person. There's people that have a ton of them, and there's people that don't have any. So the reaction is different depending on kind of the skill level of the player. If you've seen someone bowl 100, it's not that exciting anymore. If you've seen someone bowl their first one and they're 75 and they never bowled one, I would think the center would go pretty crazy.
Have you done it before? Have you bowled a 300?
Yeah, a couple times.
Okay, so I think it should be a prerequisite for your job.
To be a manager?
Yeah, I really do believe that. I think you should have to have a 300 game under your belt.
I think it helps understand the bowling side of the job for sure.
And how rare that is, or how not rare it is. Like, see, I don't even know. I'm not a bowler, but I think it's cool.
Have you ever seen just a random drunk dad who is not even spinning the ball, bowl a 300 just by pure drunk luck?
Lazy balls down there.
No, it takes a lot more luck than that, unfortunately. Nothing like that, no.
All right. I've always thought, like, one time I bowled 2 strikes in a row, like 1 and 2 frames, and I started getting nervous. I was like, oh, my God, what if I get a 300? Like, I'm like, do I tell the manager? Or do I, like, is there a alarm?
Yeah, I feel like you have to tell the manager.
Yeah. And then next ball, gutter ball.
This is my last question, and it might cause a fight.
All right.
What is your opinion of gutter usage? What are the bumpers? What is the age? Because Tom has been wrangling with this. He has been struggling with it. He complains about his sons using the
bumpers.
The bumpers, but then at the same time, he's like, well, what do they learn? Like, and you've been struggling with it.
They have fun with it, and without the bumpers, I feel like they're not going to have fun and then get a distaste for bowling.
And this is a professional, so I feel like it would be very short-sighted of us to have a bowling professional on the line and not ask him his professional opinion of the age range for the bumpers. So, sir, please, Anthony, if you could weigh in, help Tom out.
I'll give you both sides of it. How's this? I'll give you from the general manager side point, and then standpoint, and then a bowler standpoint. From a general manager standpoint, I want you to have as much fun as possible. So if you guys want to use the bumpers and your kid's crying, by all means, use them. And if something happens, we'll take care of it. From a bowler standpoint, being someone who started on bumpers and then got off of them, you cannot get better by using them because you're using them as a crutch. So I always recommend, if you're trying to excel, try to really force yourself to practice and get a little better to where you don't rely on the bumpers as much. We're still going to throw it in the gutter. I throw it in the gutter. It doesn't go away completely. But if you can learn to control and get better, accuracy and things like that, eventually you don't need the bumpers, and then you're the coolest guy who goes bowling with your friends.
Okay, and then Tracy weighed in. She said she was talking to Crystal about the bumpers on Saturday. She said, quote, "It's going to suck when they go to a bowling birthday party and they can't bowl."
Yeah, I said they're all going to laugh at you, Adam Sandler.
I did not think about that. Okay, you can learn a lot from Adam Sandler. He's a successful billionaire at this
Sloppy
point.
Joe, they're all going to laugh at you. Shampoo,
Fatty
you know
McGee,
where. So you got a good arcade there? How much does that pull in? What are we talking?
Yeah. We have a pretty solid arcade. It's we don't own the machines. We just have the spacing. So we're getting the best of it where we get the revenue of them paying us to be there.
What do you got in
there? Pretty solid.
What are you running?
So we've got three of the huge Mario Kart, life-size Mario Kart racing.
Oh, I love those.
Those are fantastic. The kids are on there constantly. They'll run back and forth between that and the bowling while they're bowling. It's pretty fun. We've got Tomb Raider, a huge Tomb Raider shooting game.
Cartoon,
we've got Justice League.
Pixelated.
We've got Minecraft. Minecraft's massive with the kids.
Oh, I bet.
Now, my kids only like the ticket gambling games where they can earn enough tickets.
Well, they are your boy. They're your boys.
They spend $50 and buy,
a pencil.
I'm not even joking, 13 cents of straight Wuhan garbage.
Yeah, it stinks.
Do you have any of that?
Odor to it.
You got a wall of Wuhan.
No. we did away with the winning of prizes. These are all put your money in, enjoy the experience, and get out kind of stuff.
But you had it. But you had it.
At one point, yes, before me.
The Wall of Wuhan, and the
Is that what you've
saddest...
been calling us? That's fantastic.
The saddest employee ever is the guy who has to go to
It's a hard
individual
job.
kid and then have them just...
You have to know the value of like these
I want
horrible
8 Jolly
tickets.
Ranchers.
Yeah,
We do not have enough.
him and Hall over small bits of Wuhan that they
And
want.
they normally end up giving it. Like if it's like 20 tickets and the kid has 14, just give him the Jolly Rancher.
It's a one penny.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, Anthony, thanks so much for
You were great,
telling us
man.
about your job.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. It was fantastic.
We appreciate you. You were super good, man. We appreciate you letting us
Thank you.
kind of peek into what you do every day. And I'm glad that,
Of course.
man, it does my heart good to know that Sunshine Bowling Center, or what I affectionately known was known to me as Sunshine Lanes, is still kicking ass, man.
What if we did something with you, Anthony? Did like
Ooh,
a
I'd
Tom
love
and Dan, the land bowling meetup?
Yeah.
100%. I'm all for that.
Oh, that'd be fun. You want to do that?
Give us a little deal.
Can we rent the whole place out and do it, Club Wana style, a la late 90s, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the check clears, you can do whatever you
Hey,
want.
the check will clear. Trust me on that.
Yeah, we pay cash.
Yeah. Let's just say, if you know Cabana Live, it's going to be that kind of party.
Do you take Doge? I got a lot of that.
Yeah. How much Doge
that
will
went
you
back
take?
up.
How much Doge will you take?
Yeah. The whole Elon thing,
Yeah.
skyrocket Doge.
And my Hawk Tua coins in the trash.
Oh, goddamn hog tour.
All right, get out of here, Anthony. We love you, buddy.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, man. Be good. He was great.
What a young go-getter.
Yeah, that guy's killing it. He's like a young guy, and now he's managing his bowling center. And
started at 10. My son's 10.
You got to stop comparing. You got to stop.
You were doing something at 10?
He's working to the pro shop.
All right, we will be right back. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and also YouTube. Just go there, like, and subscribe at Tom and Dan Live.
On the couch, a good friend of the show has been coming in to do our podcast.
How many years?
And we'll ask him.
Since we've had this studio, so how long have we been here?
And even before, I think.
He came to my house one time.
Got to be
maybe
close
twice.
to 10 years. He's going to be at Porky's Comedy Club Friday and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Killer Bees is here. How you doing, Killer Bees?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, and good to see y'all.
Good to see you too, man. It's been when is the last time we had bees? It's been a minute because I think the last time you rolled through, we missed you because we were on vacation. I think I had an exchange with corporate that we were already like booked to go. So I think you had a trip, and then we missed bees.
Yeah.
So hey, welcome and glad to see you.
I think it's been a year, or probably at least a year.
I think it's been over a year. I think it's been
Something
over a year. Yeah.
Time is going by too fast, Bees. I don't know if you know this. I know.
Don't tell bees that.
So, I don't know why I've never done this, but I never went to Bees Wikipedia and then just read through.
Well,
I don't know why. Maybe I did it 10 years ago.
We've known him so long since when we were on the Monsters till now. I kind of feel like
we already knew his background.
I think you were pre-Wikipedia.
I'm pretty sure I was.
No, I'm dead serious. Like I think from me as a broadcaster. Like, I met you before there was a tool that you could go to and just type in Killer Bees and go like, oh, what's this guy about? There was no tool. I had to actually like, hello, sir. How are you? And you're
I
like,
remember.
hi, I'm Killer Bees.
You had me send in a short story. Remember that? I need 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, that was like me in Flagler College. I had to write an essay.
So,
the essay's the only thing that got me in.
And the reason why I bring up the Wikipedia, and you mentioned it right before we started recording, that you're 43 years in, is that I was looking through Wikipedia, and it talked about your first performance in 1982. I was born in 1982. I'm about to turn 43 in 2 weeks. And then I was like, my God. I mean, what a unbelievable career length to be working and I mean, continuing to work 43
sitting
GD
before
years.
me, 2 42-year representations of good. We have a good career over here, and then we have whatever you're doing.
So, tell me, Bees, tell us all, like, because I'm, as, you know, it's funny, too, because you, and I'm sure you've thought this before.
Oh, damn, we got Ryan in the chat room saying, pardon, but he's saying earliest Bees memory. appearances on John Boy and Billy back when I was in elementary school. That would have been 93, 94.
Wow.
You were on the big show.
That's right, out of Charlotte.
Yeah, man.
So, give me some advice, Bees. Tell us about life. What do we need to do? Because you always seem happy. You travel around with corporate, your wife. You've been doing that for years.
Yeah, but it seems very... I mean, I'm sure there's hiccups and problems and issues, but you do seem very content and like you're having a good time.
We've talked to you about your house before. That seems awesome.
We've talked to you about moonshine.
You continue to be driven
Hobbies.
in your career.
I think we've dabbled in a little bit of guitar. You and I were geeking out a little bit before the show.
Yeah. Well, it's been a very blessed career, man. I'll just have to say that. And I will say unabashedly that I was really meant to do this.
Yeah.
I have been funny since I was a little baby. I don't know if I told y'all the story. My earliest memories in my dome is from living in a funeral home in Kosciuszko, Mississippi. My dad was a funeral director, and we lived in an apartment in this funeral home. And I had the run of the place as a toddler, and I would see sad people come and go from where I lived. And I had no concept of life or death of any of that stuff, but I learned when I was a little bitty baby that I could do just silly little cute stuff, and the crying people would stop crying and come over and smile and talk to me. And I feel like that has fueled my compulsion, and it is a compulsion to make people around me laugh and smile. I don't do good around stoic people because I'm afraid something's, wrong. I think we should all every day, and I'm a godly man, I think we should all get up every day and be thankful for the day God gave us and act thankful until at least 10:30 or 11 when we find out it's going to suck just like yesterday.
But it's the gratitude. It's tricking your brain into a positive outlook. I try to do this with my sons, and I want to go all into this, Bees, because I want to go back into you growing up in a funeral home, and your dad not only was a Korean War veteran,
correct,
but he was also a captain for the Jackson, Mississippi Police Department,
correct,
and a funeral director and embalmer, which is
a lot going on there.
A real man in my book.
I've seen some things. And that man has seen a few things.
And it seems like maybe more of a stoic man. I'm painting a picture of a real man police.
How much of him is in you,
Captain?
Well, I believe that his calm demeanor is in me. He did not get flustered. He didn't. There was nothing that went down that had him agog.
Okay.
He was just steadfast.
Correct. But my mom was silly. She was silly and funny, I think that I get a lot of that from her.
From Mama.
And she was amazing because my mother went to college for the first time after having 4 kids and actually got her PhD.
Holy smokes.
Her doctorate in education, and with that
she was a teacher.
Correct. And with that degree, she taught special ed in public school. Wow. And to me, that is the most compassionate.
She's like a servant.
And giving and
public
just
servant
an amazing,
going back to do that.
Right, an amazing thing that she did that. So fast forward from the funeral home when I was a toddler, we moved to Jackson, Mississippi, and a gentleman who went to embalming school with my dad in Nashville moved to Jackson and opened a funeral home. And this funeral home had an emergency ambulance service. Way back in old-timey days, the municipalities had not taken over the ambulance services yet. And so my dad got me a job with this guy when I was 17 years old, working at the funeral home, working in the ambulance. At the age of 17, I ran emergency ambulance calls every other night.
This must be a Southern thing. My dad drove ambulances when he was a young man at like 17, 18.
Really?
This is a young Southern man thing in Virginia.
This was before 911 even existed.
Yeah.
This was
before 911?
Yes, sir.
Hold on, I thought 911 was real old.
No.
I thought it was like they invented the telephone, a little bit went by, and then 911.
At 48, I remember when there was no 911.
What?
Yeah.
People
You're pre-911?
Yeah, am pre-911, and I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it.
Man, people had refrigerator magnets with the ambulance phone number on it. Excuse me. But anyway, every other night and every other weekend when I was a senior in high school, I was on duty doing ambulance calls. And so when I wasn't on an active call, my dad had kept his embalming license. When I was on duty at that funeral home, he would come in and do the embalming, and I was his apprentice. So I was actually an apprentice embalmer when I was a senior in high school, in addition to running these the emergency calls. So that's how I learned that I could deal with pressure. Going on these calls, on the way to an emergency, man, the adrenaline was so hard I would bounce in that freaking ambulance seat. And
did you have any training?
Oh yeah.
Did you have any medical training?
On the job is the best training. You get there and they tell you to do something. That is the best training.
Did you have paramedic training?
Back then we didn't have paramedics yet, but we had very advanced. EMT training did not exist in that state at that time, but it was.
We're talking Mississippi,
correct? Yeah. We termed it advanced. First aid, but it was but we did CPR. I bet I've done CPR 40 or 50 times.
Oh my God!
On people.
Did it ever work? Because I hear it never works.
You know what?
I'm not a believer.
Sadly, the ratio of people we could bring back was very low because of the time difference that you had to wait for the ambulance to get there. If people would learn CPR, these days you don't even have to do the mouth to mouth part as much.
Yeah, you can use your butt now.
But back
legal.
then,
it's a comedy show, Tom. I get stabbed. I sit here for so long, I start vibrating. I'm like,
that's fine. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
But the thing is, back then, something would go down. Everybody would freak. Yeah. Then somebody would run to their phone. Didn't have cell phones. They'd have to run inside to the phone. They would have to look up. Where's that number on the refrigerator? They would call the dispatcher. They would call us. We would get in the ambulance and drive there. And
I like them saying, there should be a universal number we should all call.
Right.
I wish there was a universal emergency number. We have to remember this long 10-digit
universal. What are you, socialist?
So even if the incident happened right across the street, it's 7 minutes or so before word gets to us to get there. And by that time, it's really hard to resuscitate someone.
Because your brain has a lack of oxygen.
Correct. So I urge people listening, learn CPR. It's not hard to learn, doesn't take a lot of your time. And especially, and here's something else about people talk about, having to do CPR, the mouth to mouth. Most of the time when I would go on a call and someone would just say heart attack victim, we'll say that they're generally with their family members. And do you think I would not give mouth to mouth to my brother or my sister or my mom? And it's not like just some stranger.
Yeah.
So that's tantamount to trying to save people is get to them quick. So I urge folks to take a class, learn how to do it.
Yeah.
So Bees, let's go back to as a child, and I say child, you're a teenager. You're in a funeral home. You're around dead bodies. You're an apprentice embalmer, so you're literally pumping corpses filled with embalming fluid. And
you'd have to say it like that.
I mean, that's what it is.
I'd like to think of it as a little bit more of an art form.
You're exposed to what a lot of people would say traumatic experiences at a young age. Right. Seeing a dead body is dramatic. I remember even when I was younger.
But isn't it the trope that they use for quirky kids in all TV shows?
Well,
it's like he grew up around a funeral home, and then the kid always ends up becoming some sort of wacky guy.
Dexter.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But
a musician or something.
But I think it's natural. Like, some people look at that and oh, that's too traumatic for a kid to go through. But it's like, what did kids go through 100,000 years ago? They saw dead people all the time. Like, people were dying around them.
And being eaten.
Yeah.
Right.
They're probably rowing a boat as a slave of some sort, I would imagine.
Well, no, yeah. I'm talking
manpower.
I'm talking about 50,000 years, pre-civilization.
When
we evolved, our brains probably evolved to be able to accept traumatic experiences when you were young because you only live so long. So then this is why I bring this all up, Bees, because I look at how you grew up and what you did at a young age, and then I look at like what my sons, 9 and 10, they are not traumatized at all. Like the most horrific thing they've seen is on anime cartoons. You know what I'm saying? They've never experienced any sort of like real hardship or tragedy just because we live in a suburb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like what
life is good.
And it's not even like, I try to make them work and stuff, but it's like they're not naturally being exposed to anything that would be like, signal you like, oh, this is real, there's a dead body here. I'm putting in embalming fluid. I'm on giving CPR to multiple people that end up dying. It's like that.
I'm not even 18 and I have a job. I mean, how about something as simple as that?
Yeah.
It's like I'm in my late teens and I have a job that I have to do.
Well, here's the thing about that. I worked every other night, every other weekend, so they waived the tardy rule at school because I would often be on an active call at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I had an English teacher that would have me come up to the front of the class and tell my classmates why I was late that day. And at that point in time, it was like, oh, man, this is gnarly. This is great. I get to tell all this cool stuff. But in retrospect, it gave me a way to verbalize what I had seen and been a part of the night before. And I believe that really helped me not have to just carry that weight, and it helped me verbalize it and gave some relief to it. And I actually saw that teacher 100 years later came to a show of mine, and I was able to tell that teacher how much that meant to me, that I was able to...
it's almost like a pressure valve, right?
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
I was able to do that. Plus, it got me in front of people telling stories for the first time. So I look back and I'm like, man, did God have this plan the whole time?
Yeah.
But that is...
Was your teacher doing it, just to clarify, it wasn't a form of punishment. It was just
not at all.
It was just more like, hey, he's late, so since you're late, come on in here and tell us what you were doing. And you'd get up there and be like, hey, I was tucking this guy's...
It was an act of compassion by that teacher, and I didn't realize
Young
it
Bees, come up and tell us about the person you tried to give CPR to last night and end up dying. Tell the class about how you saw someone die last night.
And make sure you use adverbs because it was an English teacher.
My kids' teachers can't even call my son by his nickname Max without me signing a form giving him permission to use a nickname. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
so
it's a different time.
So, Bees, and then what do you think that did to you? Because obviously, look at you now. You're 71. You're still grinding. You've been
I don't think you've ever slowed down at least since we've been in this studio. I mean,
for 43 years now. I mean, that's gotta be somewhat related to growing up and then having that instilled into you early. That hey, I'm going to start working and do hard jobs.
Do you ever get bored?
No, I don't get bored with the art form. It's a very challenging art form. Spoken word, and which is what you guys do. Spoken word is, I think, the hardest art form because you don't have music to carry you. You don't have awesome dance moves to carry you. It is all about making a movie scene in somebody's head. So there's wordsmithing that's got to be done. There's delivery, and the turn of a phrase. So it's a very detail-oriented, hard art form. I did not go into it because of that, and I did not know that about the art form when we started out. But I've just been funny since I was a little baby, and people have told me my whole life, dude, you should be a comedian. And so when I finally got the chance, I tried it and I went, you know what? I sucked. And I'm like, but it's because I did not know the mechanics of doing it on stage.
I'm going to figure this out.
And that's where, if you've really got that gift, which is a gift of levity, if you've got that gift, The work is that learning curve of learning how to do it on stage in front of strangers. When we're just sitting around together, popping off, we can all make everybody in the room laugh.
For sure.
But it's a whole different ball game when your name's on the ticket.
Yeah.
And they spent time and money.
Yeah, at that point, it's an
there,
equation,
so.
lightning in a bottle or something. You got to be able to know how to do it. Yeah, for
So
sure.
when Bees did you decide, hey, I'm going to give stand-up comedy a try? And, I mean, obviously we talked about 43 years ago, but how did your real man dad, feel about it?
That's a good question.
Going
I don't
into
think
that
we've ever talked
career,
about that.
43 years ago.
How did your family think? I mean,
stand-up comedy wasn't looked at as anything serious at all.
We've never asked you that. Did you have any other entertainers possibly in the family?
No, well, you're looking at my mom who went to school and got a PhD after having 4 kids.
Yeah.
You're looking at my dad, 33 years police force, U.S. Army during Korea.
I like that he kept the embalming thing, too, because, keeping it up, I've always admired people that have that, and then they'll be like, oh, I have my realtor license, or something, and then they just jump over to something, and I'm like, well,
that's
wait.
old school.
It is old school, but I'm like, wait, you always kept that up? And they're like, oh, yeah, every year I take the
Just in
test.
case,
I'm like, real? What? You do that?
And so, see, I was one of these guys that never knew what I wanted to do. What do you want to be when you grow up? Down in Jackson, Mississippi, there were 4 options: fireman, policeman, doctor, truck driver, whatever.
All the Richard Scary ones, in the children's book.
And so I didn't want to choose because I knew there were other things out there, and I thought there may be something even cooler and better and more fun that I would enjoy doing. So I was playing blues guitar on weekends in Jackson, Mississippi, working at a music store, selling guitar gear, doing some setups on guitars, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the house band from a ritzy nightclub came in when they go, man, Kenny, the guy that runs the place, wants a comedian. You should go do it. Because I've been funny since I was a little baby. And so I said, you know what?
And you knew the guys in the band.
I'm going to try to do that. So I went down and saw the guy and booked Friday and Saturday, 20 minutes. 2 20-minute shows. Had never been on stage to do
Christ, 20 minutes is a long ass time.
Right. 2 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
So,
but not knowing the art of stand-up, it does give you confidence. I do 20 minutes, not that long. But now you're like, oh, that's an eternity.
It's like those people I see that get on a skateboard for the first time and they ride all the way down the hill perfectly. I'm like, how the hell did you do that?
So it was, and I had no material. Yeah, I did stuff off Richard Pryor albums, off old records and stuff. But I also liked Gallagher. He had just came out.
Yeah.
And so I had some little props and stuff like that.
I liked Gallagher as a kid, too. Oh, my God. When he pulled that massive condom out of the couch, my head exploded.
You're like,
as
I can smash some stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
You were like, that was my old couch.
So, and you had a little bit of reps from as a kid, telling stories to your classmates and trying to make the people in your dad's funeral home laugh when their grandma died.
I was a little too funny for the funeral business. I was better behind the scenes.
Yeah. Don't get him out there. He's ruining the mood.
At any time, did your dad want you to take over his business? I'm sure that, that's an old school mentality, but still exists today. I kind of want my sons to be interested in my business and take it over one day. Even
what's funny is that I think that before I had kids, I'm like, I want her to do something that I do. But the more, after I have kids, I am opposed to, I hate what I do. You know what I mean. I don't want her in this.
It's awesome now.
I don't want her anywhere near this, and I want
What do you mean? This is awesome.
No, it is awesome, but I want her to do her thing.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what if she wanted to do it?
I mean,
take it over?
You know that. Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
And he did not push me to do that. He did not.
Wow.
He was very cool about it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was neat that he would show me how to do some different things, but not push me like that. So that was
interesting.
So that was kind of cool. So now
he was ahead of his time then a little bit of a dad then, because most dads that I would, if I'm adding up your age and your dad, I would imagine most dads a little more stuck in their ways than, hey, I'm going to give this guy the ability to explore. Well, that's a newer I think that's a newer dad concept.
Again, Korean War veteran, captain in the
this
Jackson
guy broke the mold. Sounds like
Mississippi
a good dude.
Police Department and bomber. Like you think he's ahead of his time, but like you think it'd be old school, exactly what you would think he is.
Man, he grew up poor, and when we lived in that funeral home, and we would get. They had to teach him at embalming school how to tie a tie. And when we would get dressed to go to church when I was a little boy, he would have me lay down on the kitchen table to tie my tie, because that's how we learned how to tie a tie.
Oh, my God, like a dead body.
Right.
That
and
is
Mom,
the cool. That should be a cover of your. That should be a comedy album of yours. Like you.
I can't tie it unless you're laying down
dead.
dead.
Lay down like you're dead. Close your eyes. I can't.
And Mom hated it. Mom hated that. And Dad would go. And Dad would go, look lifelike, son. And Mom would just go, "Oh, Truett, quit doing that."
Okay, so he was funny too. Yeah, it's in the gene.
It's there. It's there. Yeah, that's killer, man.
So anyway, so that's how it kind of came to fruition, I guess, if you will. And I always felt like from day one that I would acquire the chops to be successful at stand-up. I was never one of those guys who went, man, I wonder if I'll do good at it. That never occurred to me. It was when I had the opportunity to do that, I'm like, okay, that right there.
Yeah.
So...
Where are the big, because, I feel like country, I don't know about you guys, you're more in that world. I feel like country music's like hotter than it's almost ever been right now across the board. And it would seem like to me that you would see more. Now, again, I'm asking you because you're there. Are we getting more of an influx of our country comedians? Like, where are those guys at?
And that's a good question.
Where are Jerry Clowers?
And I don't see...
Where are Killer Bees?
I don't see a lot of the new guys these days because we take our hand-picked opening act with us. That's another thing that this long into it, I'm not in those trenches. And I'll say this, I'm glad that I'm not just now starting out in my career. And this just comes from a concept of me being my age, because the audience now in the comedy clubs did not grow up in the same lifestyle that I grew up in. They grew up gaming. They grew up with digital information and the give and take with the verbal words back and forth with real people in real time was not as much a part of their life.
Right.
So it's a different thing now. So we do very few comedy clubs now. We do mostly theaters, and the audiences are closer to my age because they grew up listening to John Boy and Billy throughout the years, and this and that.
They know you already, so they come to see you.
Correct. And we have common ground.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the best place to be too, because like going back to your stand-up career, and I want to ask you this, Bees, because. And we've talked about this a lot with other stand-ups, and it doesn't happen so much anymore. And what I'm talking about is performing in front of audiences that don't know who you are. And you had to cut your teeth bringing your style of comedy to a bunch of strangers who had no idea who you were.
It's like cold calling.
And now and I think this is what happened, because like we saw like a Larry the Cable Guy and other Southern comedians in the 90s, be it like Peak or whatever, and they were bringing their Southern culture to the rest of the United States.
It was a cultural exchange, sure.
And then I feel like current Southern, I'll put that in parentheses, comedians or something that grew up in a certain demographic that would relate to other demographics, they never leave their bubble of people that follow them, and they just go around performing to their audience.
Right.
Because they can promote like, hey, I'm going to be here, and then all their audience goes there.
They know where they're going.
And then they know them, and then they know exactly where, you know what I'm saying? So you're not cutting your teeth in front of an audience that doesn't know you, which is way harder to win them over, which gives you, I believe, a hardened and more experienced journey as a stand-up.
I believe that. I believe that's true. I think it's more valuable.
I believe that's true, man, because back then, when I would work, and I've worked everywhere. I've worked Chicago, Seattle, just all over. And before I got on that part of the country, before I started traveling out, I had some anxiety or angst over it about what are these people in these foreign lands going to think of me? And especially with this accent. And so I learned that people are the same everywhere you go. All four corners of our country, there's different accent. The food's going to be a little different, or maybe a lot different. And there's differences. But we all have the same human experiences. We love our job or we don't. Our boss is great or we dread seeing him.
Sure, yeah.
So you learn to do an act that is universal instead of regional. And so I got to where I would do the same set in Seattle that I would do in Indianapolis, that I would do in Birmingham or Charlotte or Tampa or Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah. Or Porky's.
Yeah. So that's what I had learned. But there was trepidation there because I'm like, how will they accept me? Because we didn't have cable TV then. We didn't have the internet, and people in these other places had not been exposed to the people from other places.
Anything like you. And now we're exposed to everything via the internet and social media. So it's like we already know it's like going on vacation. You could go on a vacation to a national park and you could have walked through the entire national park on a YouTube video already to seen it. And that's what people do. They're like,
that's the only way I do national parks. Yeah.
And then you plan, you already seen it so once you get there, you're like, I've already walked through it in the virtual tour.
I actually like to watch the video while I'm walking the real tour. It's a little more fun that way.
You see a stand-up comedian you like on social media, if you've already been exposed to an hour of their content, you're already familiar with them. They're not a stranger to you. And that's a shame that that now we live in a world where we already know what's coming. And then for the comedian, they already know they're going to an audience currently that knows who they are, so there's a comfortability factor. And old school comedians, they would go into an audience, complete strangers, and perform in front of people who had no idea who, and then like weren't even familiar with Southern comics, or like maybe had a stereotype that you were going to be.
Now I think you'd seek it out.
And
that's what I mean. Like maybe that's why it's disappeared. Like it's like as the world gets smaller. I can't even think like maybe Chris Porter. Would you even dub him a Southern comic? I don't know.
Well, I worked with Chris 100 times, generally in the South when I would work with him.
You and Chris are the only.
So
I can't think of anybody else really. But it was a thing when I was a kid. It was like a thing. Like you knew that there were comics that would only be like with country music.
Here's something. So I wanted to touch this a second ago with you, that the performers these days have so much in common with the performers of old. We did, get this, true story. We did 2 weeks ago, Abbeville, South Carolina, the Abbeville Opera House. Wow. Built in 1896, an iconic old-time ornate theater. And I was backstage getting ready. The show's about to start. The curtain was closed, and one of the techs goes, "Come here, I got to show you something." And he walked me to the middle of the stage, and there was a square patch in the wooden floor. And he goes, "That is where this theater made a trap door for Harry Houdini's act."
Really?
And I'm like, oh my gosh! And it just made me think about these performers. Stage performers, they suck it up and they go out there and they deliver. But just the gall, if you will, of this guy's writer to have, I'm going to need y'all to cut a trap door. My rider has fancy bottled water.
What do you like? Are you a bubbly man?
A fruit tray, that kind of stuff. I'm like, holy moly.
Well, we're getting this is coming back. I don't know if you guys read the article that Quentin Tarantino, I think it was 2 days ago. He is basically the article should have just been called Quentin Tarantino thinks that film, streaming, TV, computers is garbage. The last bastion of human entertainment is live stage. That is it. Seeing something live with a human to human, that's where he's going. That's his thing. Yeah.
We get this.
Yeah. So comedy, that's like going to see bees at Porky's, the exchange of energy from a real human to you. It may be the newest and greatest form, truly, of entertainment, because everything else is fake as F. It's just not real.
And you're overly exposed to it. Yeah. So it's kind of like getting now.
This is authentic.
Yeah. It's almost like getting an advertisement in the real mail. You're like, whoa, what's this?
It does get me now.
You're like, what the hell is this?
I got one yesterday for some hold on, infrared spa, and I was like, what?
There's a car key in here. Saying someone mailed me a car key?
They said they were going to pay me yesterday if I checked out their bank, and I opened it up and I looked for the crisp dollar bill, and it wasn't in there. I think you got to go online.
Moonshiners pays me online. I don't even get to go. I don't get to go to the mailbox. Ooh, there's a check in there. And that corporate just we just as positive.
Before we run out of time, let's hit moonshiners a little bit. Yeah, we're just over here pontificating about life with bees.
Thursday. This past what's today? Friday, Tuesday, 3 day, whatever Tuesday was. I won my second episode of Master Distiller, which is a moonshining competition show that runs hand in hand with the regular Moonshiner show. So I am now 2-0 undefeated on the Master Distiller.
Now, do they have a hillbilly? Do they have a hillbilly counterpart that is like the hillbilly Gordon Ramsay, who he will take a sip of your
several of them? Yes, they do.
I can't taste none of the elderflower. I can't taste none of the cinnamon. And I think you done plumb ruined the challenge. You suck.
And they'll use words like on the back end.
Yeah.
Or, and it's got a nose on it. All this stuff.
It's got a motor oil finish.
So anyway, I was lucky enough to win another episode of that, which was cool as I'll get out.
That is fantastic, man.
Yeah, no, man, isn't that neat? It's just like the cooking shows where you have to make a carrot cake out of these ingredients. You got 2 hours going.
That's cool.
Like that.
So you have to distill something that's undistillable or weird, or
there's weird.
Yeah,
we did hot peppers. They wanted a hot pepper infused liquor.
That kind of makes sense.
So we chose bags that you couldn't see them. They had hot peppers in them, and the producer had told me in advance we're going to do hot peppers. So I took a blowtorch, put it in my backpack. I had a blowtorch and a blender in my backpack. And when I got my peppers out, I cut them out and I pulled the blowtorch out and bruleed.
Oh, yeah, man.
Scalded, toasted the peppers before I did the
Makes
run.
Them sweeter, right?
And that came through. Well, when you barrel age liquor, the inside of those oak barrels has been charred. Ooh. See that, and so it gets that charred bourbony kind of taste. So my stuff had a hint of char in it because I charred the peppers with my blowtorch. And then I had a pineapple, and I cut it up and poured 150 proof moonshine into the blender with this pineapple, made a slurry out of it, and put it in the thump keg and ran the vapors from the charred peppers through this pineapple slurry liquid, and then through the condenser and into the jar. So it gave a pineapple note and a charred, almost aged note to the distillate.
And it was a tribute to Maui burning.
So why would you say that? Why would you say that? Bees, I'm curious to moonshine. I remember when moonshine used to someone would be like, got some moonshine, you're like,
it was like Cuban cigars. Remember somebody be like, I got a Cuban cigar, you're like, you can't have that in my house. The cops are gonna come and tase me in front of my children.
And there was a different view of how legal or illegal moonshine was.
We've got moonshine sitting there that was gifted. I won't say who gave it to us, but we have it was brewed, and it was brewed with marijuana.
And there's a marijuana nug in there.
There's a marijuana nug that in the bottom of it.
I'll show that to a cop right now. It's right here. If any cops listening,
Delta 9, come and get me. Delta 9.
It doesn't matter.
Read your laws, sovereign citizen.
And speaking of Delta 9, they're selling it everywhere. It's weed.
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed you can buy weed anywhere now?
Yeah.
So what's the legal
ramification?
Of moonshine anymore? Does it? Cops don't even care.
Great question.
It is still a federal offense. With that being said, there are several states in the union that will allow home distilling for personal use. Missouri is one of them. Missouri, you can have 100 gallons a year for your personal use if you're over the age of 21.
100 gallons?
Yeah.
Correct. It is still a federal offense, but those states do not enforce that.
Yeah.
And the feds aren't going to send the FBI to your home.
In Missouri, you can do some stuff. You can still lock your wife in the wife room in Missouri. No, that's not true. I made that up. That's not a lie.
So anyway, so it remains illegal unless you are in a licensed distillery, and I'm pretty sure you have to have your still connected to the floor of that establishment. You cannot carry it around with you by federal law.
Oh, it's some old school antiquated law.
Right.
Like, it's got to be bolted to the ground.
So you can't put it in your truck and drive it to the to the.
You know, the workaround on that, you got to do sugar bolts.
So
you let them wet.
And this too, you know, I hear from a lot of people. Oh, time out. Let me say this. Stop asking for moonshine on Facebook.
Yeah,
right,
don't do that.
I'm back. There are a lot of, you hear people talk about, they'll send me texts all that, man, or message me, man, I want some of that stuff y'all make in the woods. I don't want the stuff that's in the stores. They use the exact same equipment in the stores. They use big copper pots. They use copper coal. They use the same ingredients as we use in the woods when we're filming the show. The only difference is they make it in huge quantities.
Yeah.
In the distillery, and there's not bugs in the mash.
And
I like the bugs. I like the bugs.
And
I feel like the bugs are part of it.
And some argue that it does not have the elfin magic that is created when you make it in the woods.
You got to have a human pube in there, right? You got to have like a hair.
Elfin magic.
Yeah, I agree with Bees. If it's not, I feel like it's almost like a popcorn machine at a seafood restaurant that's never been cleaned. That's going to be the best tasting popcorn in that bar. Down the Hatch. I'm talking about Down the Hatch seafood restaurant.
Yeah.
Once you clean that thing, and you've changed the whole, you ruined it.
Because you've got the FDA and the feds coming in, making sure your copper is polished to a certain degree, yada, 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 where when we're out in the woods, they go, we'll just dump that out and start over.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay?
Yeah, it's clean.
What is it? As a businessman, if someone in my audience was like, "Oh, this is not the Made in the Woods moonshine," I'm like, just print Made in the Woods. Whatever, just print whatever this sells.
Or how much has to be made in the woods? So what you do is you take one jar of Made in the Woods, you know what I mean? That's what a lot of people do.
I've learned this too. The word hillbilly means a genius in overalls with a spit cup.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a lot of chemistry and physics involved in and I quote, covert distillation of non-taxed artisan spirits at a non-disclosed location.
This is a scientist with a southern accent.
Yeah, exactly. He just doesn't like lab coats. He likes flannel.
So, congratulations on that, by the way.
Bees.
And how many years have you been working with Moonshiners? It's got to be
9 years now.
Okay,
the show, we just finished season 14. We'll be wrapping up our last episodes are coming up before too long, which really has some cool stuff going on in it. And so season 9 for me, season 14 for the show. And every year they go, we don't even know if we're going to have another season. I've been doing that for the last 7 years.
Yeah, I know you said that to us before, but I think it's locked in. People love it.
Next year will be season 15, be 10 for me.
That's awesome.
And it has been so much fun, man, and it is such a hoot to get to do that.
Has that show like infiltrated different countries, and have you been surprised? Because I'm sure that it's like, you know how TV writes, they start selling it off to foreign countries.
Dude, I get email from Germany, from Australia, from the UK. Matter of fact, the Discovery Channel UK did a clip on Facebook of one of my episodes, and the stuff that they were writing from the UK, the comments, they would compare me to Al Capone. Just stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So there's that. And let me say
I love it when people of other countries are ignorant to what's really happening. You're like, look at how dumb they are. This is great.
So anyway, but let me say this real quick, because I want to say this. I need followers on Facebook.
All right,
Killer
let's do it.
Bees Comedy, Facebook, Instagram, and So y'all can help me out with that.
Yeah.
So,
They'll hit you right now. The people in the chat room, especially.
Yeah.
Bees is spelled B-E-A-Z.
B-E-A-Z.
Killer
There you
Bees
go.
Comedy.
Also, we got some people that bought some tickets. They're going to come and see you.
Yeah,
Nice.
Porky's
Nice.
Comedy Club.
How
Friday,
many shows?
Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
And there's 2 shows.
Good
or
food.
one-
I think it's just one a night. Is that
Okay,
correct?
one show
Yeah.
Friday, one show Saturdays.
you
Porky's
go.
Comedy Club. In
They got
Kissimmee.
barbecue. Go get something to eat.
They
Yeah,
got great
yeah.
burn-ins. They got really good banana pudding.
Yeah, man. Good food.
Yeah.
That's a good spot.
So-
and the people at Porky's always treat us right. They're good folks.
Yeah, go see Bees, and
Yeah.
it's cool because
Say hi to him.
You could just have a conversation with Bees, and he has an amazing life.
Yeah,
and,
man.
And
You did it right, Bees.
Yeah. I
Did
do
it right.
I
I get inspired when you come in here. I was like, I gotta figure out how to come into a landing like Bees is still doing his thing, but see, to me, every morning I wake up, I'm like, how am I still alive?
Dude, I'm very grateful. I certainly am. Did I tell you I have a flamethrower?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we talked
Okay.
about the
What?
flamethrower.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Mike Busey has a flamethrower.
Yeah,
Do you know who Mike Busey is? He owns a house of ill repute here.
well,
it's
yeah.
a social media influencer.
Yeah. Oh, he's crazy.
Well,
He has a flamethrower too.
You even call him an influencer? He was like pre-influencer, kind of became an influencer on the wrong social media app.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's still an
Snapchat.
influencer.
Is Snapchat still a thing?
Yeah, it's still a
Okay.
thing. It's still a thing.
It seems like it isn't. I don't
Yeah.
hear
Well,
much about Snapchat.
Last we saw him, he rented a helicopter, a little one, and he flew over the Hollywood sign. And he diarrheaed on it. Like literally he did it, and he filmed himself doing it. And we're like, wow.
I'm sure he's taking that down. He's like, oh, God.
He's like, oh, yeah, please take that down. These people are burning alive.
Yeah, my show's a little different.
Yeah.
But kind of the same. If you look
But the
at
spirit is
squint
the
at
same.
it.
Yeah.
Just as fun.
Bees, thank you so much.
Man,
for
thank
calling.
you.
You're
Love
always
seeing
welcome.
you guys. And again, hit up Porky's, get those tickets, go see Bees. And if you guys come around here again, hey, hit us up. We love
We
seeing
certainly
you.
will. And corporate killed it on the pinball machine.
Yeah, she did.
I'll give the report. Our first celebrity player, 45 million.
All right.
45 million.
All right.
You got to beat that.
So we will see you on Monday.